Welcome to the Project Mom Podcast. I'm your host, Emily Gorey, mom of a sweet baby girl and an ever-evolving entrepreneur. On this show, we will explore the intersection of motherhood and entrepreneurship. We will share stories of moms just like you and me with the goal of fostering community and comfort in knowing that we are not alone in our experiences. Please take a moment to subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to ensure you get all the updated episodes and releases. Welcome to today's episode of the Project Mom Podcast. Today I'm chatting with AnnMarie Rose. She's an online business strategist and quiz funnel expert with nearly a decade of experience helping business owners leverage their zone of genius to reach the right audience with the right message and generate revenue online. When AnnMarie isn't working, you can catch her sweating it out at a local fitness studio, pulling tarot cards and journaling, sipping wine or coffee with girlfriends, and doing something fun with her husband and business partner, Jeremy, and their 5-month-old son. So AnnMarie, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
I'm excited. I know we did a little bit of back and forth getting this on the calendar for my sake, so I appreciate you.
Oh, of course.
I feel like that is motherhood and business owning in and of itself, just navigating and being flexible and just trying to figure everything out day by day. So it fits perfectly with this.
No kidding.
Yeah, right? So I want to get started with kind of understanding that intersection for you. So the intersection of entrepreneurship and motherhood. So maybe start by sharing with us kind of that progression for you. How did you become an online business strategist? And then where did motherhood come into play for you?
I'll give you the short version. I've always been entrepreneurial. I was that kid that had the lemonade stand when I wanted to buy new earrings. And so I got a hunch in college that I would eventually run a business. And I was going to school for journalism, knew I didn't want to go the traditional journalism route. So right out of college, I started at a marketing agency downtown San Diego, where I still currently live. And through that work there, I realized that, I was dealing with brands who had really big budgets, and we were sort of the executors. And I'll be honest, my strengths lie more in the strategic thinking, influencing. I don't know if you're familiar with Strengths Finders, but I'm sort of using that language at the moment, realm. So I knew that just how I was hardwired for success was not going to set me up well to contribute in the best way possible in that environment. I also knew, because I had somewhat of a background in fitness, that there were a lot of small fitness studios that needed marketing support. And so I just asked myself, well, what if I could go leverage my strengths to support some of these smaller businesses who don't have these massive budgets, and I can serve in more of that strategic and influencing way and do some of the execution early on. And that's what I did. So I started just kind of, for lack of better terms, freelancing, doing more done-for-you social media content marketing for smaller businesses. One thing led to another, and I got several clients in the online business space who supported with business development, personal development, and really loved the opportunity that realm presented to leverage your zone of genius, share it with others, and make a great living doing that. So also through that, realized that a number of my clients were pouring into content marketing, social media marketing to grow businesses they weren't really thrilled about growing. And I am all about impact. So my body physically couldn't do the doing to support them in growing a business that I saw having a negative impact on them.
Yeah.
So I kind of asked myself, okay, what's the bottom line that's not being addressed here? And it was the vision and how that CEO is hardwired for success. So through those realizations and some development of various frameworks, really the business became a business strategy consultancy. And that also then allowed me to see the possibility for what I knew I wanted long-term, which was the ability to be very present with a family one day and also be a business owner. Those are two parts of my identity that I saw playing out from the time I was, this sounds silly, but from the time I was in the first grade.
Yeah,
I would, in my head, when I went to first grade, I would pretend I was going to work in my head, just to keep myself busy.
Great. Yes, I love that.
And I always pictured a family at home, even from that age. And so that's like, I knew that was going to be part of my journey, and that I wanted the option at least to not have to have like the 9-to-5 daycare option. Nothing wrong with it, but I knew that I like the choice.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the kind of evolution that you went through to get to this part, and understanding like, even, I mean, I love how darling that story is of like you, like that young, kind of picturing this like ideal scenario for yourself, and like understanding, right, as you got older, as you started to do more things, put yourself in different work environments, different types of clients, clients with, certain visions or lack of visions, right? There's this evolution that you take to kind of create this ideal version for you now, right? And this like ability to adapt and shift based on different stages of your life and kind of the impact it was having on you as well. So I really appreciate you sharing that. And I would love maybe if you could touch a little bit on like, maybe on this evolution. As you were talking, you mentioned a little bit to me, and this is slightly off topic, but I'm kind of thinking maybe some of my listeners would want to hear about this too, of like, I think when we think about making shifts in our business, right? And you said you had this, right out of college, you started this marketing agency, and you had, these clients with pretty big budgets, and you're kind of just the executioner, and you realized it didn't really align with your strategy. So when you made this shift in your business, it comes in different ways, right? Like there's the mental shift that you have to take, and then the like physical shifts that you have to take to like make changes in your business. So how do you go from like clients who have these like really big budgets to clients who are small business owners who I would argue maybe need more support, which are like more your presence is more impactful for them, but they have smaller budgets. So how do you rectify for yourself maybe the shift in money that you're bringing in, and like if that shift is worthwhile, kind of aligning with your like inner needs? Like how do you rectify the monetary and like the personal fulfillment pieces of that shift?
This is a great question. I have my business owner who's pretty savvy with positioning answer that I could give you, but I'm just going to give you like the straight up raw and real. Okay.
Perfect.
So to clarify one thing, I was working at a marketing agency. Okay. I was there for like 6 months. So that the big budgets, those were not my clients personally. That was the agency's clients that I was an executioner on the team, right? I was low man on totem pole there. So I was right out of college. I wasn't making very much anyways. We also I was 23 years old. We didn't have kids. We didn't have and literally what I told myself when it basically came time to renew my contract, and there was a mutual understanding that it was not going to be a fit. So my options were either go get clients or go get another job. I don't know if you're familiar with Enneagram. I'm an Enneagram 8. I like being in charge. The idea of going through the job search process again and trying to sell myself to build somebody else's dream. I was just like, why not sell what I want to be doing to build my own dream and help somebody else build their own dream at the same time.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was auditioning to teach fitness classes, and kind of an opportunity came up for me, which ended up being a laughable story that we probably don't have time to get into today, and I don't know how relevant it would be, but basically like it was a fitness studio owner who was going a million different directions, just needed somebody to help ground the strategy. And I was like, I can help with that. So and I had a few clients come on in that like first month to where I kind of sort of matched the already like not super livable income that I was making at the marketing agency.
Yeah.
And what it came down to though was the fact like we didn't have that. I just told myself like, if I'm going to take this risk, I might as well take it now. Like I don't have other mouths to feed other than my own and my husband's. And my husband had a job that he also subsequently left pretty quickly. And then we were in this together with, some various side things along the way. So that's the raw, real answer. Was like, I took a messy leap because I could at that stage in my life. Would I take the same messy leap now? Probably not.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that's very on track with, I think, a lot of the like fear that we have as moms at this point to be like, do I make a change? Do I try something different because I'm feeling like called to do that? But I know that I have X, Y, and Z on the hook. I have mouths to feed. I have daycare to pay for. I have, all of these other things. So I appreciate kind of the transparency in that and just how easy that was because of the like current situation that you were in at the time.
Yes.
So
yeah.
Where did
I at least wouldn't have making the leap as hastily as
Sure.
I did, or just I was like, all right, well, screw having a stable income, I'll figure it out. It's like, and right. I wouldn't just do that now. Not to say I wouldn't take a leap into doing something different, but I wouldn't have just like made the decision on like a random Tuesday and then gone and got a kombucha to celebrate the fact that like I basically had no money coming in. That would not be
the freedom. Yeah.
Yes. But I have lots and lots of clients who are moms who are making a leap and making a shift, and I help them to do that without totally, just torching their life, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe we touch on that a little bit. So I know in the overview that you had shared with me, right, there's this, I'm going to read what you wrote for me because I think it sums it up perfectly. It's right. You help your clients align the business model with vision, refining their offer suite, clarifying their brand message, streamlining their marketing and sales systems so that they can impact and earn millions online without the overwhelm and burnout. And I underlined without the overwhelm and burnout because I think when we think about entrepreneurship, it's a beast in and of itself. And then you add motherhood on top of that. And I think we get to a point where, and I just say we, and I internalize this so deeply that maybe I should just say it's like I get to a point where perhaps the overwhelm seems just too great to find a way to do both. So I'd love to understand like how you achieve this with your clients. I mean, like from your perspective, like what does that groove look like? Like how do we get to a point where we can hone in on all of these things and not feel overwhelmed and not get to a point where we're burnt out by trying to achieve and be quote unquote, maybe perfectionists almost in both areas of our life?
This is a great question. I think there's kind of three components to this. One is the mindset piece of it. And I will tell you that in my own short, thus far 6-month motherhood journey, the mantra I've adopted and that has been a theme that's run throughout my client experiences. And I have a couple of clients who are either pregnant or have recently given birth, who this has also worked beautifully for. The mantra that I keep coming back to is what's true today isn't necessarily going to be true tomorrow. And I don't always mean that on a day-to-day sense, but sometimes I do. This is true in motherhood and in business. And because I'm such a long-term thinker, I mean, clearly I was 7 years old envisioning like my career and family life. That was internally a very difficult adjustment for my nervous system to make. I remember dipping my toes back in when my baby was 8 weeks old, just dipping my toe in. And all I could think to myself was, how the heck is this going to work long term? How is this going to work long term? And it was that I was not asking myself a helpful question. That question was dysregulating my nervous system and making me see impossibility when now I've begun to ask myself, how might this look different tomorrow? If my baby wakes up, like last week, he, for whatever reason, was waking up at like between 2 and 3, multiple days in a row. Last night, he slept from 6:15 to 6:15. So it's, and in business, you might have a really challenging client that you're working with that you're kind of trying to navigate. Do I release this client? Do I try to work things out? And they may be going through something that you hop on a call the next week and it's all of a sudden resolved itself. It's not always going to be the case, but just an example is that, what feels like the absolute truth today that we can worry ourselves sick trying to solve a problem that may simply resolve itself, or we may feel differently about it the next day. that has been a very, very helpful mindset shift for me to make and for me to then bring to my clients, is that what's true today isn't necessarily going to be true tomorrow. That's thing one.
Amazing. Yeah. I feel like just that in and of itself is so impactful, like the mindset shift of also kind of maybe calling yourself out a bit of like this like thing that feels so traumatic today is going to feel lighter maybe tomorrow, maybe the next couple of days, maybe a week from now, like just trusting that it will move through, like just shifting the mind just a fraction is easier said than done, but so impactful when you can find a way to do it.
Absolutely. And I think it just to call out the difficult piece of this or to not ignore the challenge, the real deep challenges, is that sometimes it can actually look worse. What I think is useful about this mantra is that it allows us to see things through a lens of not everything feeling so urgent, because, and maybe this is a little bit of how my brain works. I mean, pre-baby, his name's Grant, by the way, so I might refer to him. Pre-Grant, I loved a good 3-hour time block on my calendar to knock a bunch of stuff out. That is not super realistic anymore, almost ever.
Yeah.
I might get that every so often on Wednesday because my husband and I have an understanding that like he's full ownership of parenting duties pretty much all day on Wednesday. But that was a difficult thing for my nervous system to adjust to. And so there was a piece of that felt better and better and better as my nervous system adjusted to back and forth and things like that. But there have been ways like various client examples or things like that where I can't remember if we were talking about this when we were chatting, but I know we'll go into kind of the intersection of motherhood and business, but which we're doing, obviously. Also what I'm available for when it comes to client support I can offer, and support's our number 2 core value. So I'm always like looking for new ways to pour into my clients. It's also made me super aware of things that it's not my job to solve this for them, or it's not, do I need to refine my audience? Because this is actually a problem that before I had the energetic capacity to guide someone through. And I'm realizing that how I'm hardwired, like they could be better supported by someone else given the stage they're in or given the circumstances they're in. And so that's been an example of something where I've actually, if I've been a little rubbed the wrong way by something a client has said or done, and then I've said, well, what's true today is not necessarily going to be true tomorrow. Tomorrow I might wake up and say, it actually feels even like, it's just adding to the pain now.
Yeah.
So this is a clue. I'm listening. I'm going to keep listening a little longer. I don't need to let this client go today. I don't need to change my whole business or messaging today, but I'm going to keep listening. And if this is a pattern, that's my clue we need to do something different.
Yeah. Amazing. I mean, I think personal experience is reactions to what's happening around you and what was happening before is like our biggest clues. And I think as moms, and once I became a mom, I feel like that work really went into overdrive for me because I felt like there was a lot of stories. There were a lot of stories or a lot of narratives that I didn't realize that I had internalized, especially being a mom, wanting to find time to continue career driving aspirations that I had. I spent most of my 20s creating a career for myself, right? And I did things a certain way and based on expectations that I thought were there of me. People were really supportive of, all that I was achieving, impressed, all of that. And then I hit my 30s and I was like, okay, now I'm thinking about starting a family. All of those career aspirations paused, right? And then we hit 2020 and, the pandemic and everything completely shifted too. So I feel like everything up into a certain point was no longer true for me. And I had to figure out these different stories and these expectations that I had on myself, and listening internally went into overdrive. I spent the first year of my daughter's life not listening to myself. And I literally spent the entire year listening to every crazy story, narrative, expectation of me. But I think I had to hit that in order to start being able to listen to myself again. So I appreciate kind of this iteration of how that manifested for you. And I want to touch a little bit on like how things changed for you. So Grant came along, he's 6 months old. Like when you guys, you and your husband, you're in business together, correct? Like you two. So I can't even imagine that. So maybe we touch a little bit on that too, but it's like, you know, you're both working together day in, day out. Like, how do you support you, AnnMarie? How do you support you? And then how do you support you and your husband in business? And then how do you support yourself as a mom to your son with all of these like different shifting expectations?
Oh, this is a great one. And we had a lot of conversations early on, and we still do, about how do everybody's needs get met? They're not going to get met. Like, obviously, you know, Grant wasn't here 6.5 months ago. So it was just our two needs. And then, you know, the needs of the business. Cause we try really hard to think of that as a different entity than the two of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
We just had to think about those three things. And then Grant came along and it's okay. How do we still make sure everybody's needs get met, even though it's going to look a little different? And I think asking, again, it's a lot of it comes down to just asking yourself helpful questions and being willing to have open conversations. So that's certainly one thing, is just a constant, like, how do we, and the prerequisite to this is a willingness to explore what it is that you need and a willingness to come to terms with what it is that you need. One thing that I'll share, this is like super vulnerable for me, is that last summer we had a promotional period of time. So I was pregnant at this time and it did not go well. We had every reason to believe that it was going to go well. All of the metrics and all that stuff looked great. It was seemed like a perfect on paper partnership. And it just resulted in almost nothing, no additional revenue coming in. Not fully nothing, but basically nothing. And because we had, that wasn't the only promotion that we had planned, but it was about 4 months out from maternity leave. And my husband and I just had a very honest conversation. I was like, this is so much pressure on the business that I'm the face of. He's not the face of it. He doesn't do client work. He is mainly in charge of the financial aspect and then any team related things that come up. And then also he's my sounding board for literally everything. I just said, this is so much pressure on this business, and primarily one offer, because I have one group consulting offer that I'm so passionate about, that I love delivering, that really suits me well and my ideal clients well. And I just said, like, what if some of these things that you've been doing for fun, communities he was involved in other sectors, could actually be generating some revenue for us? And maybe they don't even need to fall under this business, but what if they could relieve a bit of pressure? And so we had that conversation, and he got uncomfortable with putting himself out there in a way that he had never done before. And that one thing has led to another, and that's led him to a full-time job offer. And he's much better than me at like toggling between things and kind of he'll work at 9 or he'll work at, like, we probably work the same amount of hours, but mine are all, I like mine to be like back to back, and he likes to just sprinkle, and he doesn't care if he's going to like dive into something on a Saturday where I'm like, Friday to Sunday, I am off duty.
Yeah.
So he just works a little differently than me. And so he's still doing like the financial side of the business and things like that, because he likes a lot of various things
very
going
capable,
on.
Yeah.
Yes.
He can do it.
Yes. But it came down to like me surrendering to the fact I needed a little relief.
Yeah.
And exploring ways of getting that weren't just me pushing harder.
Yeah. I mean, I think I really appreciate you sharing that, because I think there's a level of worry of sharing some of those like vulnerable like asks of needing a little bit of different help or needing things to look a little bit differently because of the pressure that you're putting on yourself for this business to create an environment going into maternity leave and kind of feeling like there's a whole lot riding on what you're doing. And I appreciate that because I think about, right, as moms, if we go into starting a new business, this like pressure that it has to like take off or it has to succeed in whatever definition we've given to that immediately. And there's a timeline ultimately that will play out the way that it's meant to. And we are worthy of asking for things to look a little bit different, to fulfill the needs that we have. And it's challenging to reconcile this, like, I'm trying to think of like the right word. Failure is not the right word. It's like this like shift in our perspective or this shift in our definition of what is successful, or maybe questioning or right, kind of reevaluating what successful needs to look like right now, or what success is right now, or what works for us right now. And I think the ability to be so vulnerable with your partner is so key to ask for some of those shifts in needs. And it's hard. I mean, it's so hard. Like, I think and then it's also hard to reciprocate. Like, I know for myself, like my poor husband, I love him so much. He's so good to me. Like I'm trying to do a lot of work these days around really being in tune with my needs. And then I forget sometimes that like he's trying to show up for my needs that I'm communicating and I'm vocalizing. And I forget that I need to do the same, right? I need to show up for his needs, right?
Guilty as charged.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. It's really hard. And I think for men in particular to like ask to stand up and say, this isn't working, I need help, like this needs to change, is very alien to them. Like they're, depending on, I would argue maybe most men, I'm sure there's a handful out there that maybe that doesn't apply to, but I know for my husband, it's like, he just wants to do his best to show up for me and the needs that I have, especially with this like crazy ass shift of becoming a mom. Like it has completely turned my world upside down, that I forget that I do have to carve out some space internally to show up for him as well as an individual. So I appreciate you sharing kind of your vulnerability and asking, and it just makes me reflect on this like partnership.
Definitely. Yeah. It is so helpful to have those vulnerable conversations. One of the things that's been really helpful for us too is just, again, I always use the term like knowing how the other one is hardwired for success. And something we've used just as like a shortcut is various personality assessments. I use these with my clients too. Human design is one that's useful. My husband's a reflector. If anyone listening knows anything about human design, they're very rare. And they kind of sample other people's energy, and I'm a generator, so I have a lot of energy that I output. So one thing we've learned is that at the end of the day, he typically needs time to just sort of like release all the energy he's like taken in through the day and just like be by himself. Usually it's just like scrolling on his phone, just getting lost in something. He's a big research guy, so usually he's looking at random articles, whatever. One of my love languages is quality time. My first is acts of service. He does great with that. But my second is quality time. So I've had to reconcile a little bit that in the evenings, he needs 30 to 45 minutes to decompress. And how can we navigate our evenings, or can quality time be me looking forward to a Friday date night where he's not really going to like, we're going to just like put everything away a little earlier than usual. I'm going to get 2 hours of quality time. He still gets his time to fully like decompress the way he needs to. And that I don't have to have us like having an hour-long chit chat every single night. And also, how can I look at other things we're doing during the day, like taking a walk together as a family at 3 as like my fill up of that quality time. You know?
I love that. I'm like reflecting as you're talking. I'm like, we need to adapt some of that in our household, because it's my husband's a lot like you. It sounds like he loves at the end of the day, like reconnecting, coming back together and, having that time. And I am a lot like your husband, where I've already been touched all day long. Like so my daughter goes to daycare Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but Tuesday, Thursdays are such rewarding yet challenging days for me because I'm touched all day long. And she just started full-time daycare those days. So like, we're trying to reconcile ways where it's like, he's like, oh, great. You have some quote unquote free time Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Like, let's hang out. I'm like, I don't have that much free time. Like, I'm, carving out this time for myself so I can have my alone time. So at the end of the day, when you do want to hang out with me, I've already done my decompressing for myself. So we're working on it. We're talking about it. We're figuring it out. We're setting boundaries. We're figuring kind of what works for both of us. And I'm curious from your perspective. I mean, you had mentioned, you look at, yourself, your husband, the business as, separate entities that have needs. You add motherhood to the piece. Like, how did adding your son to the picture shift some of those priorities for you? Or did they? Or did it just strengthen what you already knew?
Oh my gosh. I don't even know if I can fully put it into words. Family time and spending quality time with my son is a big priority for me. I am not okay with it makes me cry to think about, and I hesitate to say this because I know it's right for lots of people. The thought of dropping him off at daycare at 8 a.m. and picking up at 5, and when last night he didn't take his afternoon cat nap, so he went to bed at 6:15. That makes me want to cry to only have an hour with him.
Totally.
I mean, he's only 6 months old. There's only so many things we can do, but I just having the option to yesterday, Jeremy had a lot of things he was doing. That's my husband. And so I was pretty much in mom mode from 2:30 p.m. to when Grant went to bed. And it was a really nice break from business.
Yeah.
And it shifted my priorities in various areas that were already a priority. So it's always been a priority for me to take care of my own health. I say this to everybody. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything. If you're sick and in bed or hospitalized or whatever, you can't take care of your family, can't take care of business. You got to prioritize your health. You have to.
Yeah. So
from day one, it was day one, meaning as soon as, obviously there's a couple weeks of what's happening, but pretty quickly it was okay, I'm back to meditating on a daily basis, even if it's 5 minutes. Taking care of my body in whatever capacity, starting with 5-minute walk to the coffee shop. Now, I did a strength training workout this morning, making sure that we've got healthy food here, those things that's just the given that if I don't do this, nothing else is going to work.
Yep.
So, how does that look now? Okay, maybe I'm not going to go to as many workout classes as I used to, but I'm still going to do that workout. I figured out even ways that Grant can be kind of entertained while I'm working on it up.
Yeah.
A good dance workout will really get him laughing. That's my favorite thing to do on Fridays.
So sweet. I love that.
And then there's, career and family time, relationships, things of that nature. And career is a priority in my life. It's not for everyone. Some people, it's just, they're just okay, as long as we've got ourselves financially covered, we're good. I don't need my career to be the super fulfilling thing. I have family members who are that way, who kind of their work is their work and they're doing it so that they can, go travel whenever they want or whatever. Mm-hmm. For me, my career really, I need to be making an impact that feels fulfilling. So,
yeah.
It's been a constant, asking myself, okay, how is what feels fulfilling shifting for me? Mm. And it's a constant conversation. I think the theme of this conversation is constant conversations. And I am in a space of I'm only 6 months into this, and the baby changes so fast. You're reconciling a lot of identity shifts. So for me, everything has come down to just constant conversations with myself, with my husband, with soon to be a therapist. I've just basically put out feelers for a new therapist, with trusted peers and advisors and colleagues and clients too.
Yeah.
Constant conversations. So yeah, my priorities as a human, the areas of my life that feel most important to me have not necessarily shifted. It's what, if we're thinking of them all as like cups, I guess, in front of me, it's how those cups stay filled up enough for me to feel like a complete whole human that's shifted and is requiring a constant conversation.
Yes. And I absolutely love that you use that analogy, because I think the message that you're sharing right now is so impactful of like, if you feel the pull to have more time spent at, family time, more pull to like nurture your career or your business, like that is absolutely 100% worth the mindset shift for. Do it, right? It's like things are going to change daily, weekly, monthly, phase, season of life. And I think just that message of like, you can do both is so impactful, and that it doesn't have to be equal 50-50. It doesn't have to be, the exact same today, tomorrow, a year from now. It's just so powerful to like really lean into that, because I think as moms and as business owners who become moms, or moms who want to be business owners, personally for me, it's like, I don't feel 100% fulfilled by being solely a stay-at-home mom. And it's a really hard one to say out loud, because it's not that my daughter doesn't fulfill me, but it's spending, 12, 14 hours a day with her, even when my husband's there, right? I'm still there. She still needs mom. She still has needs, wants, desires. She still had like just over 2 years, loud. She makes noises. Like, as somebody who's an introvert and like recharges by myself, it's a lot. It is a lot. So I think just like for those listening, it is 100% okay to want to find a balance between being that mom and being able to spend that quality, fulfilling time with your kids, but also knowing that you're an individual and you can do other things. Like, that's my biggest lesson.
Totally.
I can do more things.
And something I've noticed a lot of moms, and I noticed this with, like I said, many of my clients are moms. And I think in general, as women, sometimes we're looking for like permission to release some of the pressure that we're putting on ourselves.
Yeah.
And if you can't tell from many of my other anecdotes, I'm not much of a permission asker. So I'm like, I'm going to give myself permission. Ain't nobody else going to I'm not going to ask anybody else permission for this. So one of the things I've done just intuitively, and I've shared it with a few other people, is if I'm envisioning these, cups, for whatever reason in my head, I'm actually picturing jars, whatever.
Perfect.
Jars in my mind of these areas that I know make me feel, again, like a whole human, and that I need them in some capacity to feel good in my life. So if we've got my own personal health and well-being, and let's just lump that all in. That's physical, that's emotional, mental. I don't think that it's really super necessary to separate it all out. At least not in the phase of life I'm in at the moment. With that, we have motherhood, we have business and career. I have romantic relationship, and I'm going to separate that from friends and family relationships, right? Yep. Those are kind of the five. Is that five? Yeah, I think that was 5 jars, so to speak, that come to mind for me that I know, definitely on a weekly basis, they all need to get poured into, right? But I don't put pressure on myself to pour into them every day. As a matter of fact, and I say I don't. Yes, I get to the end of some days and I'm like, oh, I didn't respond to these text messages from friends, or, oh my gosh, I meant to get to this, and this in the business and I didn't today. Yes, I still say some of those things to myself, but I can come back to basically the rule I've made for myself. Now I like to be able to touch 4 of those areas in a day. I'm good with 3.
Yeah.
I'm good with 3.
Yeah.
So if I have a day where I don't do skip a workout and I didn't meditate, those are the things I come back because those are pretty much an everyday thing. I'm not going to freak out about it. Like it's not the end of the world. What's not going to be good, what's going to further diminish what's already in that jar is me beating myself up about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be okay with it and look at like, okay, I poured into the business. I poured into my husband. I poured into motherhood. Friends and self will prioritize that tomorrow. And even like the friends and other relationships at this moment in this season, it's like that jar is getting poured into 3 days a week and I'm good. Like, and by friend, I mean, like calling my mom, maybe I'll go meet up with a friend for coffee. It's not like I'm hanging out with a friend all day. Like,
right.
That's very rare that that's going to happen.
Yeah. I mean, I love the kind of allusion to just personally taking that pressure off of yourself, right? You have these goals for yourself. You know what's a priority in your life and you know how you want to show up for them, right? And what in this season of life is fulfilling to you. But it's that piece that you mentioned of like, what's going to make it worse when I don't do it is if I beat myself up, I think is like one of the catalysts in being able to like actually achieve fulfillment of like when we slip up or when we inevitably forget something or, you know, something like that happens, like we are our own worst enemy. We are going to beat ourselves up more than our girlfriend who we forgot to text back for 5 days. They get it. They totally get it. And if they don't, maybe we need to evaluate that. So
100%. Like I have so many friends right now who have new babies and we all like text messages will go unanswered for 5 days. And I've finally like, I don't apologize anymore. I'm like, you know, and I'm like, no apology needed. Like get back when you get back. It's fine.
Yeah, totally. And
I'm not sitting here wondering where your text message is.
Yeah. I mean, and if I needed you, I'd call you.
Yes.
It's so funny. We like go through that stage of life where it's like, we don't want to pick up the phone and we just text and it is what it is. Now I'm like, if I need you, I'm going to call you. So if I call you and you have a moment, please answer the phone because it's likely that I need something from you in that moment. So if you have capacity and you can help me out, please answer the phone.
Yeah, easier. Or I love voice messages. It's kind of weird on iPhone, but like, I don't know if you use Voxer at all. I use Voxer with clients and with friends, especially like my mom friends, because we can speed it up. We can slow it down. We can pause it. We can come back to it. Like,
I love that.
It's hands-free.
Yeah, totally. I never thought I use it in like a professional sense, but I never think to use it like casually, like with friends. Like I'll do like on Instagram, like you can do like the voice memo stuff. Like I've used it that way, but I love that you could just like send it. It's much more personal that way.
Definitely. And I mean, to be fair, like many of the mom friends that I do this with are also business owners. So we're using it in a professional capacity as well.
Yeah.
I don't have like many friends that my friend who's like a professor comes to mind. Like we're not boxering. We have our, monthly catch up and then we text in between.
Yeah. I love that. I want to touch, before we wrap up, I want to touch a little bit on boundaries. So one of the things that kind of as we prep for this interview, you had mentioned was kind of the benefits of boundaries for yourself in business, and I'm assuming in personal life as well. And I want to touch a little bit on that because I think boundaries are a tricky one, right? We have to get very clear personally on what our boundaries look like and kind of identifying what those are. We do kind of owe it to the people around us to communicate our boundaries, but it is ultimately up to us to enforce them. And I think that is the sticky part a bit, where I think people get kind of tripped up of boundaries. Well, I told them that I didn't like when you do X, Y, and Z, or I told a client that I don't have time on these days, yet they still message me, whatever, right? The part where I think a lot of people get tripped up and I get tripped up is remembering like, it's up to me to gracefully enforce them and, not be angry about them, but find a way to kind of enforce those with those around me. So from your perspective, like how has boundary setting now with motherhood in business been such a key part of success for you?
So boundary setting has been a key part of success for me for maybe my whole life. And it's something I love helping others to work on because I think it's something I'm pretty good at. Sometimes I will say, though, I am too good at it to where I over anticipate a need for a boundary and I will set it in advance when it's unnecessary. So I just want to own that's something is a work in progress for me. And so what's been helpful in that, and I think it goes both ways, whether you struggle to set and hold boundaries or whether you're someone who's like, I need to protect, like I need to set a boundary in case this happens or in case of whatever.
Yeah.
Is just like asking yourself what would feel supportive and then maybe why and when. Like, would this feel supportive and when would this feel supportive? Is it an always thing? Is it an always with this person thing? Is it a just for this season thing? And what that's done for me, asking those kind of questions on a business sense, is not put unnecessary work on my team to go like, because a lot of times in business, I try to quote unquote set boundaries by building systems into what we're doing that kind of sets the boundary for me. So for example, like when a new client comes on board, they get access to my Voxer and it tells them when I'm available in Voxer. And like the system does that for me.
Yeah.
And so my clients know when they can expect to hear back from me on Voxer. So they don't expect to hear back from me on Voxer at times outside of that. But what I have noticed, again, it comes back to what's true today is not necessarily going to be true tomorrow, is that my brain is very much a problem-solving brain. So if I'm experiencing a problem today that relates to somebody else's or some other circumstance, like kind of not, creating an energy that isn't supportive to me, it's not, I pause rather than immediately rush to set a boundary to prevent that in the future.
Yeah.
Because I know my tendency there. And again, then I start to look for patterns. Is this a pattern?
Yeah.
If it is, then either a deeper conversation needs to be had and maybe it's just a casual, like, I don't love when my clients email me, like just Voxer me. It's way faster. I'm a verbal processor. That's how I like to communicate with my clients. So if I get, email one from a new client, I'll reply back and I'll say, by the way, just ping me on Voxer next time. And then if they keep doing it, then the next time we're on a call, or I wouldn't do this in the group setting, but I would send an email or have my team send an email that's like, hey, just as a reminder, like Voxer is the place where you can receive support moving forward. It's going to allow AnnMarie to show up as her best for you. And it allows you to have a space to kind of dump your thoughts and avoid clogging up both your emails. So there's always also a way when we're in, and everyone has different types of businesses, but most of the clients I work with are coaches, consultants, or online service providers. So we're dealing with people a lot. Mm-hmm. And when you're pouring into people, you being at your highest and best is also in the best interest of their highest and best.
Totally. Yeah, totally. So thinking about how do boundaries not only support you, right? And kind of how you're able to show up, but it does affect the way that you're able to respond to your clients and to your family and to kind of whoever is kind of on the other end of your energy source at that moment, right? It's just so important to be able to do that. And I love just kind of the pause effect that you mentioned of just saying, oh, this doesn't feel good, right? Kind of, again, listening back in, oh, this doesn't feel so good. Am I trying to rush to protect myself from feeling this, ooh, this doesn't feel so good again? And is this a one-time thing or does this boundary need to be established? So I love kind of the narrative that you shared around those, because I think it can be adapted in any part of our lives.
Yeah. Not everything has to be figured out and fully resolved today.
Amen.
It's another way of relieving if you add motherhood into the mix and then use that as a catalyst to put more pressure on yourself, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. Because we're hardwired, literally biologically, there's more pressure on you to
Yeah.
provide, to nurture. So if we start putting more pressure on ourselves in other areas, it'll break us. It'll break us. And so asking yourself, it's what I do, ask myself, like, is this something, how can I like relieve some of the pressure on this? And sometimes it's taking a pause. Sometimes it's saying, you know, I'm good with pouring into 3 of my cups versus all 5, telling myself I need to pour into all 5 or I haven't done enough, you know?
Yeah, totally. For the sake of time, I think we should probably wrap up, but I want to just touch a little bit on kind of the work that you do with your clients. So as an online business manager, what is the role that you play with these coaches and these consultants, and kind of how do you support them in identifying their visions and really honing in on that and kind of solidifying their strategy so that they can show up as the best them? So how do you show up for them?
Good question. So I always call myself an online business strategist. If anyone listening is in the online business space, you've probably heard online business manager before as well, which we do have one of those who works with us, but they kind of handle I refer to her as the goddess of all things behind the scenes. So that's what a typical like online business manager would do. So I call myself an online business strategist. Most of my clients would call me their coach. I'll just call it what it is. But I do focus more on the strategy side of things. And the way I see myself is a bit more of a consultant, where I differentiate those two things between a consultant is someone who is going to problem solve and give you answers more of the time. And a coach is typically someone who's going to guide you to your own answers. And so I do put on my coaching hat from time to time, but I like to say I do about 60 to 70% consulting, 30 to 40% coaching. And we really, most of my clients are in a season of transition in their business, their professional life, and they're wanting to have a fulfilling business life that also affords them the freedom to show up in their life the way that they want to be showing up in their life. And a lot of business guidance out there doesn't factor that into the mix. So I do.
Yeah.
And we start out with visioning, like really, I say extensive. It all happens in kind of one fell swoop, where we are visioning for their business, a little bit of long-term, a little bit of short-term, and life is factored into that because it doesn't make me excited for you to help you build a business that feels like a prison that you need to escape from so you can actually enjoy any semblance of your life.
Yeah.
That's not gonna make anybody happy. So we got to factor in that you're a whole human and consider what you want business and life to look like. And then we look at what you've currently got going on in your business. Are there things that make sense to leverage in that journey forward towards your vision that you currently have going on? Almost always there are things. So it's not let's burn this to the ground and start from scratch. It's what are we going to leverage to make this journey forward easier and create greater profitability and greater space for you right now, like today. That's typically always where we're going to start is I want you enjoying more spaciousness in your bank account. Spaciousness in your bank account is meaning there's more in there.
Yeah.
And in your calendar tomorrow. What that's going to do is give you room to grow. If you don't have that, you're going to be too crunched to grow, like too squeezed.
Yeah.
So that's what we do first and foremost is look at how are we going to address the now to create more spaciousness to then pour into that longer term vision of what's the next level of the impact that you want to make, the income you want to generate, the freedom you want to have. And, we get really clear on what the specifics of that look like together and strategize a roadmap forward. But we don't start necessarily moving towards that bigger picture roadmap until we've created greater spaciousness with the here and now.
Yeah.
And usually, to be honest, that creating of the spaciousness is usually just in the first 30 to 90 days. So I work with all my clients for typically at least a year because I want their day to day. We hold the vision of what we want longer term in the next 3 to 5 years. And we start by creating a day to day that feels better, that allows you to show up as your highest and best, that allows you to take work a 4-day work week if you want, or a 3-day work week if you want, or 2 days. And you're like, they're really, truly what's best for you in your life and allows you to show up as your highest and best is if you are the face of your business, or the CEO or the one who's most involved with whatever it is, you showing up as your highest and best is almost always going to lead to your business doing better.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
I didn't get too deep into the weeds there, but then, we map the strategy forward to the longer term vision, and then we start working towards it. But we don't add it on top of what you've already got going. We look at how to maximize, simplify, and create greater spaciousness with what you've got going on now, so that then we can begin navigating that path to the next level without it burning you out or overwhelming you.
Yeah. I mean, just as I'm listening to you share that overall vision for your work with these business owners, it feels so light, right? It's the understanding of growth can be light, doesn't have to be more, right? As long as you can simplify and visualize and create, like you said, this beautiful space for more things to drop in and things that are more aligned with what you're looking for, just feels so light and energetically exciting. So I love that you were able to share that and give a little bit of kind of overview into how you work with your clients. So for the sake of kind of wrapping this up, how can our listeners engage with you? Where can they find you? How can they work with you? Are you taking on new clients at this time? What does that look like for you?
Yeah. So I love connecting over on Instagram. If you're there, I'm at ASK, AnnMarie Rose. And I just send me a DM. I love chatting. My stories are definitely a mix of business and personal. And I do share some, business insights over there. My favorite place to do that is to go deep here on podcasts though. So I'm really glad we're chatting today. And my website is AnnMarieRose.com. I will tell you that's one thing that's gotten deprioritized. There's a lot of stuff about quizzes, which is really not something I do. If my clients need a quiz as a way to grow their email list, I have resources and, guidance and strategies to help them, but it's not something that I do specifically anymore. Mm-hmm. And yes, I am accepting new clients. We've recently restructured some elements of our signature, our core offer, which is a group consulting experience called Elevate and Impact. We have amazing women in that program. It's not your typical watch a course video and then come ask me questions. It's a strategic partnership that I believe is enhanced with by navigating it in community. There are one-on-one experiences though, because I go deep. I get in the weeds of your business and I know what's up, left, right, front, and center, which is why we keep it pretty intimate. I don't take more than the number that was coming to mind for me this morning when I was thinking how many do I really want to have in there over the course of the next 12 months. And I think it scares me to say this, but I'm just going to say it because it feels right. The number is 24. I used to say 48.
Amazing. With
how my life looks right now and what I know feels most fulfilling to me, which is being all up in my clients' businesses, 24 feels good. And I'm I have some exciting new things that we're pouring into that experience to make it even more comprehensive than it already is. And I know I'm biased, but it's pretty comprehensive.
When is that launching?
It is open. We technically have open enrollment until all the spots are filled, which I have to look on. I know we don't have a ton of spots at this exact moment, but we will have definitely a few. I know we have a few open spots, and I know we'll have a few more opening up here in the near future. And one thing that is coming, though, I don't know when this is getting published, but you want to tell me?
To be honest, I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. One thing I do know is that there is a price increase coming with the additional resources that we're pouring in. So, not to make this a hard pitch or anything, but if anyone is listening and tells me that they're, came from the Project Mom podcast and they want to chat further, I will honor the pricing that it is currently, which is $3,000 less than it will be at the end of next month. So
amazing. I thinking about the calendar and probably, let's see, we're in April. So it'll probably be in May at some point.
Okay.
So we will get that up and running for you. And we'll share all the links and whatnot on how listeners can find you. And I'll make sure to connect with you and we can get everything like linked up correctly and accurately so you can engage with our listeners as well. And I just thank you so much for being vulnerable and honest and willing to share. And I'm excited to kind of follow along and see what other great things that you have coming down the pipe.
Thank you so much for having me here. This was like a really fun, comprehensive conversation that just like covered all the bases of what my life is and has been for the past 6 months. So I really enjoyed it and hope that your listeners take some nuggets away.
Thank you. Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. If you liked what you heard, please help us out and leave a review wherever you listen, and consider sharing with your friends. If you're interested in learning a bit more about the project or want to share your story, please visit our website linked in our show notes below.